What's going on, everyone? Varun Varma here with Varma Realty Group and Coldwell Banker. Another Tuesday talk excited to bring to you. Joined by, some of you may know him personally, joined by my brother from the same mother, Ankur Varma, who is visiting us from Chicago. Really wanted to get him on and excited to have him on because of the month of May is Mental Health Awareness Month, as I'm sure a lot of you are aware. Ankur recently has started a new brand called Brown Man Therapy, so wanted to have him on to talk a little bit about that, what he's passionate about, and excited to have you on. Ankur, why don't you say a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, super excited to be on a Tuesday Talk. I've been watching Tuesday Talks and all the reels and everything, taking inspiration from VRG to try to bring that to this new Instagram account that I started called Brown Man Therapy. And really for me, it was something has been kind of swimming around in my head for a while. I just didn't know exactly how to portray it and get it out there. And so I started it with an Instagram account and wanted to really, bring therapy to the masses, to people who don't maybe pursue therapy or understand completely how to, care for their mental health, and find a way to connect with people in new creative ways that are pertinent to the ways that we communicate nowadays.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, a new tradition we're going to start is starting Tuesday Talks off with a little cheers and a good day to all of us. Oh yeah, fantastic. So yeah, no, that's awesome. Love what you do. Of course, a little bit biased because you're my brother and we support each other no matter, regardless. But I think it's fantastic, and I know what's been so amazing, and I'm so proud of. Is a lot of people have come to me and said, "Wow, your brother's doing great things." Mental health, as we're all aware of, has certainly come to light a lot more in recent years because people are starting to open up more about it, and I think it's fantastic with what you're doing and who you're collaborating with is great. So tell me a little bit about what got you started in Brown Man Therapy and the industry that you're in, and what's so passionate about it for you.
Yeah, getting started in the mental health industry was not something that I, really ever thought of growing up.
Yeah.
I always thought about doing like medicine or law or education, something like that. And, just different life events, conversations with people really made it come to fruition just because it was just something that I was interested in college, but didn't really know what the career path was. And so after I had some conversations and did some research, it became really apparent to me that, this was a good field for me to go into. I had a lot of passion about it. And I think that's the idea, right? Is, if you know that you want to work with people, you have to figure out how to do that. There's a million different ways to work with other people. And so that for me was really important. And this was a good way for me to do that. And, as I've progressed through my career, for me personally, and for us, I'm sure from a cultural standpoint, how we were raised, where we were raised, mental health is not really a discussion that's had out loud or outside of your family. And so, I think that's very common for lots of people. And as men too, it's not a discussion that we have. We talk about locker room talk. I think we talk about lots of stuff, but we don't always talk about when we're struggling, when, we're having issues in our relationships at work. And so, sometimes we cover that up in different ways. And so, therapy, I think also for me, the point of Brown Man Therapy specifically was, therapy doesn't have to look like what we think about it. It's a bunch of old guys. You're laying on a couch and they're analyzing your dreams, is what we see in the movies and stuff. I don't really like that perspective. I talk with my clients, especially my male clients. We talk about sports, we talk about life, we laugh. sometimes there's crying, right, in life, and so, but therapy doesn't always have to be this like, okay, we're diving super deep and we're getting super emotional. That's sometimes a part of it, but I think for me, it's a big passion to kind of reframe how we have these conversations, because our mental health impacts our physical health, and it impacts our relationships, impacts our work. So whatever your goals are, mental health is right there, and so if you're mentally well and you're physically well, then you're going to be doing pretty well.
That's awesome, man. Like, can't even put all that into words, but you found a way to do that. Yeah, you nailed it. I mean, especially in our culture and also as our gender, as men, it's hard to release those emotions and things like that. And there's that saying, just man up. That's kind of the old school way of doing that. And the new way of manning up is being open, talking to someone that you can confide in and someone you have a partnership with or relationship with or whatnot. But definitely highly encourage. And I love that May is an awareness month for that, and I think it should continue to be awareness months. So talk to us a little bit about what maybe some takeaway items are for you and your industry that people can kind of use, and it may be more of a daily setting. Maybe they've gotten themselves involved into a setting in their work or personal life or something close to that nature, that maybe they can use these factors to maybe just take a breath or calm down and get out of the situation of anger or sadness or embarrassment or whatever that is. So why don't you share with our viewers some Tuesday Talk takeaways?
Yeah, I think there are definitely things that we can do directly in the moment to deal with stress, with like a spike in emotion. And what I like to remind people of is it's simple, right? There's a reason that we say, like, okay, take a beat, take a deep breath, right? Those are sometimes the things that allow us to separate ourselves from the moment, from the emotion of the moment. I always talk about with clients, like, don't make any big decisions when you're feeling very emotional, right? Even when you're feeling super excited, right? Like, okay, let's go to Vegas, right? When we're super excited, we're like, wait a second, hold on, let's pump the brakes, right? So, it doesn't matter when we're emotional. There's a quick spike in adrenaline, and sometimes we don't make the best decisions. So giving yourself that moment, you can check in with your senses. That's a really good one. Identify something you can see, that you can touch, that you can taste, that you can hear, that you can feel, right? In that moment, take a second and come back down to ground. And so, I think that's the other picture that I try to envision, is like a storm cloud of thoughts or anxiety or whatever it is. And that's just a storm cloud. So, we can see a storm cloud in the distance, and, especially here, like in Ohio, in the Midwest, it's like, okay, tornado warning, tornado watch, tornado warning. And then how many of those are actually tornadoes that touch down, right? There are occasionally tornadoes, but not always. And so sometimes that storm cloud passes, and so we don't always need to, put on our raincoats and go inside. And so, I think that would be a big, kind of in the moment tip. And in general, I would say just learning about yourself, learning about things that you don't know necessarily how to do, right? So if you're trying to build a relationship with somebody and you're like, wait, I don't actually know how to deal with this type of conflict or with this type of situation, that's okay. It's okay to ask for help in those moments. I'm not going to give you any realty advice because I don't know anything about that. That's why I'm going to give people his number so that he can answer those questions. So it's the same thing as, like, if you're trying to, lose weight, or you're trying to, get a promotion, you might go to an executive coach, or you might go to a personal trainer. It's the same thing to go to a therapist and work on some of those skills that maybe you haven't been able to develop. And there's no shame in that.
No, absolutely. You nailed it. There's no shame in it anymore. I mean, people should be doing this more so because it makes not only you better, your surroundings better, and the world better.
Yeah. So, and I actually wanted to ask you, the home buying process, getting a loan, mortgage, figuring all the rates out, super stressful process. So how do you see that play out with your clients?
Yeah, like you said, it's definitely stressful. Over the past 2 years, it's been crazy. There's just been just a mad rush to houses because of inventory being so low. And with that, you've got families that are looking to buy their first home, families that are looking to upgrade because now they've outgrown their first home, and everything that goes into that. Plus now trying to deal with finding a home and figuring out where your next chapter is going to end and also begin. And so there's definitely a lot of stress, anxiety, excitement, when they get the house or when they're approved for a house. But also a little bit of fear too, because they're not sure when they're going to find that next house and how that is all going to play out. So
yeah, and I think it's natural, especially the last couple of years. It's gone wild, and even when I even barely started looking at houses, not even close, I was like, oh, this is not exciting.
Yeah,
because there's not a lot out there. But I think one thing that I would say is kind of more of just a reminder, right? And this is the same kind of reminder that comes up when people have kids, right? You're doing this with somebody, or even if you're doing it by yourself for a certain goal, for a sense of accomplishment. To buy a house is a significant step in anybody's life. Yeah, so buying a house, like any major step in life, is going to come with stress.
Yeah.
Right? And even, I spent just a couple days just starting to look at houses, and I started to feel that stress. So, finding the right rates, finding loans, anytime you're dealing with money and shelter and providing for your family is going to be super stressful. And so whether you're, buying a house by yourself, or you're investing, or you're doing it with your, newlywed partner, whatever it is, it's a stressful process, right? Stress comes with change. And so just my reminder is the same reminder that comes up when you're, starting school or a new job or having kids. It's a transition. It's going to be different. And sometimes that anxiety, sometimes the struggle and the stress is just a sign of change. And it's okay to also, take a break, right? Go out to lunch, go out to dinner, go for a weekend vacation, and don't think about the house. Don't think about the mortgage. It's important, but it'll be there on Monday when you get back. And that's the idea of, having people in your corner for support, is that you don't always have to be on top of that. And in fact, taking those breaks actually helps clear your head and come back to that situation with a little bit of a perspective and a different set of eyes on it.
no, that's fantastic. Great points there, because sometimes some people just need a break because they're just so heavily dived into finding a house. They're constantly on the realtor websites. They're constantly asking friends if you know someone, things like that.
That's all you think about.
Correct. It's just heavily outweighed anything else that they're responsible to do in life, and then that has collateral effects in that regard. So those are great tips for real estate and any other industry, I'm sure. So yeah, definitely great. So cool. So no, that was awesome. I wish we could talk for a lot longer, because I think everything that you do and say and believe in is certainly an inspiration to all of us, including me. So I thank you for joining us. For everyone here, please be sure to follow Brown Man Therapy on social media channels. You provide a lot of content, updates, ideas.
I should say you don't have to be brown or a man to follow.
Absolutely.
The idea is just that I'm the brown man,
Yeah.
and that hopefully I'm reaching out to people,
Yes.
and informing them in a new way.
Absolutely. All right. Well, love you as always, brother.
Love you too.
All right. Thanks, guys, for watching. We'll see you guys soon.